Vitu by the way, it's nimeanzia kuzitumia for a long time. I don't think I can manage without them. They all go to their respective fingers except the ring fingers. I am very single. So yeah, that's how I normally work, whether I'm in court or otherwise. Welcome guys to yet another interesting channel video. My name is Anne with an E, not the book and not the show. So karibuni. My director thinks that I should be excited and have a bubbly personality, which does not seem logic considering the topic is on murder. So today's topic, it's quite an interesting one. It's a topic that most people would consider taboo to talk about. However, in our legal profession, it's something that we encounter pretty much every day. And the number of times I have come across this particular topic, they're mostly related to land. However, that is not to say that it's the only time. There are many other reasons that the reason for the topic arises. And today's topic is with regards to murder. There are other many reasons as to why murder cases are prevalent, especially in our country. We have the most recent cases where we had love triangles gone south and then people end up killing each other. We have, as in so many reasons for murder cases. We have the Kianjakoma brothers, rest in peace, and all these reasons, yeah? Now, having taken into account the element of murder, it is like an everyday occurrence, which is very unfortunate. And some of the laws that govern issues to do with murder include the Constitution of Kenya, the Penal Code, and the Criminal Procedure Code. And these are just some of the ones that are locally, not locally per se, but in the country, laws that govern the country, that are used to govern issues to do with murder in the country. We have also other international laws, yeah? And we will highlight what murder is and why some cases constitute the act of killing are not necessarily considered murder. And that is a distinction that I think I should highlight it. And one of them is we have murder and then we have manslaughter. So someone can actually have killed someone, but then again the court will look at this particular case and find that person not to have necessarily murdered the person, but will be charged with another offense called manslaughter. So basically, for murder to have occurred, there has to be the action and then there has to be the intention, which we normally refer to as mens rea. But when it comes to manslaughter, the intention of killing is not there. Basically, what happens is maybe there's an accident, you are in an argument with someone, and then, someone pushed the other, then they probably hit their head on something, and then they died. So in that case, you'll be charged with manslaughter as opposed to murder. And therefore, the guidelines are usually different as to how to charge or to sentence someone who has killed with the intention of killing and someone who has killed accidentally or without the intention. Murder is a capital offense in Kenya. Basically, there are 3 capital offenses in Kenya. If I have forgotten any, please bear with me. However, the 3 are treason, then there's murder, and then there's robbery with violence. These 3 both have the sentence of death penalty, and basically capital offenses require capital punishment. And now, having established that aspect, that there is a capital punishment, and that is basically death, we have to look at a brief history of what happens, because the last time we had a capital punishment, that is basically death, it was a while back. It was in the era of the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, and it was in 1987, where one Hezekiah Ochuka and Pancras Oteo Okumu were hanged for treason. Thank you, M1. M1 being Moi. But yeah, since then, that particular law has not really been put in force. And basically what normally happens is if you've been charged or you're guilty of murder and you've been sentenced for the capital punishment of death, then you're put in prison as life imprisonment. Now, why is this death penalty usually looked upon with a very keen eye? It's because of Article 26 of the Constitution of Kenya gives a right to life. So everyone basically is entitled to life. Then here comes a punishment that dictates you're supposed to be killed or you're supposed to die. Then it beats logic. Then why does someone have the right to life? And that is basically where a certain landmark case has been introduced in this country since sometime in, I think in 2001, that was the introduction of the case. And it is the Murwatetu case. And if you are keen on following the CJs, the interviews for the new CJ, currently the elect CJ being Justice Martha Koome. The reason why the Murwatetu case is quite extraordinary, it's because it deals with the constitutionality of the death penalty. So is it really right that you have the Constitution accords every individual the right to life, yet there is another statute that comes and then says, no, that life is limited to the extent that this person has killed someone else. Then that is why we have the Murwatetu case, because the Murwatetu case has basically delved deeply into this element of the death penalty. Now, what is the fuss about this case? Basically, there were two guys who entered into a land transaction, and I'm not sure I'm not very keen on the facts. However, it's basically on that line. So they were supposed to, I think, acquire a parcel of land, and then they ended up killing the owner of the land. And so they were found guilty of the offense of murder. And then they approached the court and said, fine, even if we have been found guilty of this murder, this sentence of death goes against our right as humans to be hanged, basically, or to be killed. It is violating our constitutional right. And I'm sure so many human rights activists are very excited about this case, because it actually, the human rights activists basically propagate the element of upholding the Constitution. So we find that in such instances, this case is celebrated by virtue of the fact that it has made it unconstitutional for people to be killed because they killed someone else. But you know, sometimes we might rationalize, but see, they killed someone else, so they should also be killed. Remember, the Constitution does not cater for an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but it caters for each and every individual person in their own capacity, whatever, regardless of what they have done. That is basically the Murwatetu case. And recently we have Lady Justice Martha Koome elaborating as to the sentencing in terms of the death penalty.
The mandatory nature of the death sentence, as provided for under Section 204 of the Penal Code, is hereby declared unconstitutional. For the avoidance of doubt, this order does not, and I emphasize, does not disturb the validity of the death sentence as contemplated under Article 26(3) of the Constitution.
Essentially, people are not supposed to be killed when they have killed to uphold their constitutional right. But there are other ways. The penal code gives other ways of ensuring that punishment has been accorded to any person who has curtailed someone else's rights. Like in that case, I've told you, Muratetu case. These are two guys who killed someone else. So then how do you bring justice to this person? And so the Muratetu case covers the element of constitutionality when it comes to the death penalty. You have to remember that this death penalty, as was ruled in the recent ruling that by Lady Justice Martha Koome, that it's only related to murder cases and not any other case. You cannot say at you because of sexual offenses, then a person who's been sentenced to death will not be accorded the death penalty, but it's only to the extent of murder. So basically that is what we were to cover today, and I don't know if you'd be interested in getting to know more information about the Muratetu case or the element of death. However, if so, I would recommend that you put in your comments down below and discuss, or rather raise the questions that you wish to be addressed when it comes to the elements of murder. Normally death sentences zinakwanga lifelong, or rather they are converted to life imprisonment. However, kuna the pardon power of the president. So you can actually write to the president. I think there's actually a person ule mwenye alikuanga anaenda anachimba makaburi za watu. I think he had been told to, I think he was sentenced to life imprisonment, but by the pardon power of the president, he was allowed for his sentence to be reduced. By the way, he does that sparingly, because you see, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove that you have reformed. You will not go back to the society to kill again. You will, like there's a serious criteria for him to give you the pardon. There's a serious criteria that has to be looked into. Now, again, you see, as I explained earlier, there's murder and there's manslaughter. So murder, there are two key elements that are usually looked at: the action of killing and the intention of killing. So like basically you sat down, kasema, this person must die, I mean, you offend. But then again, there's that your self-defense. So someone came, attacked you, and then you probably, if they were carrying a panga, you took the panga and then you slashed them instead. So essentially, that is manslaughter, because there's the act of killing without the intention of killing. So that way even in such cases, they are very keen as to sentencing you. They cannot tell you, oh, now you go and serve 14 years. They will look at other ways. Probably they will, it's also psychological. It has affected you psychologically. So they'll also look into that. And mostly self-defense zinakwanga, someone else came to attack you. Maybe atani amekam kukuibia. Then you just got like any kimungu you happened to get away with it, and so ni kama the table stand. But also the courts also look at it has to be whatever action you did has to be reasonable. So for instance, you've had the upper hand and you've managed to maybe disarm this other person. Now, if you disarm them and maybe hata imefika point ya hata umeweza kuwa tie down, now if you proceed to say, Now you wanted to kill me. Sasa leo mimi ndio nitakuua. Usiwahi rudia kitu kama hiyo. So in that case you'll be charged with murder, in fact. It's because it is not reasonable. You had already sorted the situation out. So why then again go an extra mile to have this person? So they look at all those various things before sentencing you to whatever it is they will sentence you to. Otherwise, that is it for today's show. Like, share, subscribe, and do all that notification button thing that people do. And we will see you in our next show.